Good evening, warm welcome to the session. So this is a part of second part of our previous discussion, supply chain analytics versus data science for supply chain. So there was a lot of confusion among candidates or applicants who want to do supply chain analytics program, and most of the other organization they have this program named as supply chain analytics, whereas in our case we are talking about data science for supply chain management and logistic professional. So we saw some basic difference in our earlier session, that by knowing data science, it is easier to perform your actions, and also it's not very difficult to learn data science by using Python. Of course, nowadays high school or pre-university college students learn Python as one of their subject, but as a grown up, now we have to relearn, and it is very easy to learn these kind of basic program. Let us go to the second part and understand what others are doing and how our program is totally different. I want to take you to one of the books, very good books on supply chain analytics, which is available in the market. So let me share Amazon program, Amazon book, which is on supply chain analytics. You can see on the screen. This book is available in India. Welly, I have my own copy of this book. Of course, you can start seeing the preview of this book. This is the basic guidance in which many of the institute, including IIM, IIT, is training the candidate. Of course, this is also from one of the very good author. There is nothing against author or the material, but the content study, the method of study is goes back maybe 1.5 or 2 decades, when it was you need to first understand various statistical model, mathematical model, and then maybe by using paper pencil or sometime by Excel or even SPSS or some low level tools are being used. So let us understand some of the books in this book. What are the content? For example, here the chapter 1 is a basic introduction. This is the content based on which many of the other institutes are following, because this professor is also from XLRI and a very eminent person. The methodology, let us understand how they are using the analytics to apply in the real world. There are some, as you see, this is a preview available, so I am using the same preview, and they give some basic information about what are the contents. So as you go move ahead, they give some section 2, one more additional chapter, overview of optimization methods. There are many machine learning algorithm for optimization, where if you know basic Python, and if you know which algorithm to import, then it becomes a child's play for supply chain professional. So that could be the difference. You can see in terms of a learning objective and what kind of historical perspective. Of course, here you can see various mathematical modeling and statistic knowledge is required to understand. Constraint optimization model. So here you need to understand decision variable, objective function, constraint, and then they are trying to explain a problem and how to solve it. So you have to form a mathematical equation like what is given here, and then subject to this constraint, we observe that the constraint are expressed as a linear constraint. So this becomes a linear programming problem. So the author is explaining about what are the assumption is in linear programming and how to model it. As you can see, a complex matrix forms are available, and then possibly you can also use a graphical solution to the furniture problem. Who is going to plot all this graph, where supply chain professionals are very busy in understanding uh, the problem quickly, so that they move to the problem to solve it. They cannot sit on a desk and just all the time doing this kind of analysis. Okay, so here the author is explaining about simplex method and how to do it. And finally, here he is using Excel solver for solving this problem. Of course, I agree with the author that up to a certain limit, Excel solver may be providing you some support. So he has clearly explained, and it is very easy to understand. But the limitation of Excel. Always you cannot depend or totally rely on Excel. Even if you are committing some mistake, then it can go wrong. Also, it is possible that you need to understand when you are using solver, what are the method you are going to use, what are the constraint, how to frame in a mathematical form. That's what is explained here. And also he's trying to give you examples of similar problem. You can also see feed mix, that is the next example. As you see, the complication in formulation of this equation, why a supply chain executive has to undergo such an enormous pain to understand this. They are supply chain professional, not mathematician or statistician, not required. You can see various solution format where we are trying to build a mathematical model, and there are some problems explained like a constraint. Everything has to go in a mathematical model. You can see minimize subject to this condition. Maybe your head will rotate if you are trying to understand this kind of a problem. This is the difference what we are talking. If you know basic Python and use some of the machine learning models, it's very easy for me, the supply chain executive. I need not know what is the background, what are this model. I know my input and what expected output. It should be as simple as that. Okay, you can see there are various problems given in the book which are all practical. At the same time, you have to keep a constraint of a working supply chain professional. Does he have the time or the knowledge to first go in depth on statistics and mathematics to understand this problem and then write this model? Then you're going to also put in the graphics form. Of course, everything can be solved without even using Excel. If you are very intelligent, like in those time, if you go back 20 or 25 years, we have learned such a models, hypothesis, optimization, but the complication involved. You can see one transportation problem, how to model it, what are the constraint. Here you can see example of supply constraint and demand constraint, and then a graphical representation. And you are also using basic tools like Excel. It cannot be much complex as we face in the general work approach. You need some help to solve my other issues. Okay, like supply chain analytics is going to tell where the problem is. Finally, it's not going to come and resolve my problem. I am using this tool only to find where the problem is there. So you can see there are many methods. For example, even in the transportation problem, the author is mentioning about northwest corner rule, row minima, column minima, matrix. Okay, then finally some of the problem he is trying to solve using Excel solver. It's fine. Excel solver is fine as long as you know how to frame the model, what are the constraints, what has to be optimized, and you also should know what is the type data type we are using, so that appropriate modeling can be used, and you can get the answer. But that life is not so simple. When the problem is complex, this Excel as well as solver cannot supply. Here there is one more location problem. Of course, only this much is available in the demo version. I will take you to some of the problem. For example, how simple is to make a scenario manager. For example, you have a tool called what if analysis in Excel, something similar to solver. You are building up a scenario. For example, if this is a demand variation and supply variation, you are trying to calculate for a particular service level how much should be the safety stock and overall inventory, considering cycle stock, all that. You can simulate a problem. Of course, here I have a different problem, but in the coming session I will demonstrate in the form of supply chain inventory optimization scenario manager. Under different condition, what happens here, you can see in terms of a profit and net present value. I can just slide a button and see what is going to happen here. Of course, I have to execute this problem. Allow me for a few seconds. I will connect. There are few codes which is very easy to understand. Nowadays, high school students are able to understand this simple coding. But if you need to create this scenario manager with a lot of parameters varying, it will become very complex. Maybe the system will hang, and it's going to take more time. But for us being a supply chain professional, I need not worry about it. For example, there are various parameter. I change one parameter and see what's happening to the profits, and also it's calculating NPV, what is the value. The same way, if I change interest rate, it is able to simulate what happens to the profit and net present value. This is one simple such a problem where we can simulate. Doing it in Excel or any other model is going to complicate it, or it may be not even possible. So you can see a simple coding, which if you are know basic Python, and of course there are some basic library or ready-made algorithms are available, which you import and start working. Similar way, we have many such tools. For example, you have for example, you are want to rank a vendor, or you want to rank a product. For example, you are trying to buy some products, maybe a car. Then you are giving some rating based on its life, cost, fuel, and elegancy. And then you are trying to rate which product is number one or two or three. In Excel or the normal traditional procedure, it's a lengthier process. Okay, here what we do is we import this content Excel file, and we install a library called Topsys Python, and then you can see finally the score is arrived within a few seconds. Okay, where we are able to rank a product or rank a vendor. Like this, there are many such application. Of course, you also need supply chain domain knowledge plus some basic knowledge. Then all doing this analytical works becomes very simple. This is where I need you people to understand what you are trying to do by using the analytical tools. It should not become very complicated. It should be very simple to follow, learn, and apply in our work. This is where our program from expert supply chain management is totally different, because I am basically from a supply chain profession. I know the pain points. I don't even allow my subordinate to sit next to the desk all the time. So you have a limited time for doing this program, though. So don't become mathematician, statistician, develop deep understanding, and then do analytics. Not required. Here, with minimum intelligence and knowledge, you can perform much better. So this is a live program telecast in both the YouTube and LinkedIn. If anyone has any question, you are welcome to uh, ask questions. And also you can watch a subsequent series. I can demonstrate what are the various possibility, how easy to do such a analysis by using Python and machine learning, maybe using data science. Yemana Hailu has sent a message in LinkedIn. If anyone has any queries, you are always welcome to discuss or put up a message either in YouTube live or in LinkedIn. So if there are no queries, let us stop. Thanks for watching. Await for further future session. Bye. Have a nice evening.